It's game day for the Maple Leafs as Toronto ventures out to Columbus for a quick rematch against the Blue Jackets. We'll preview that game and give you an update on Ilya Samsonov and Mark Giordano as well. And it's the final show for us in the year 2023. Our Leafs in review coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host Dave Morassutti. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. What's up, Dave? What is going on? It is Friday. And we got a Leafs game night tonight. It's a little rematch between the Leafs and Columbus. I feel like every other game has been against the Columbus Blue Jackets for the past couple of weeks. Am I wrong on that? Like, it just feels like they've played Columbus so many times here lately.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we can take a break from playing Columbus for a little bit.
Yeah, would be nice. Would be nice. It's got to be it. Like just 3 games. I don't think they'll get a 4th game against Columbus. So after tonight, and it's a rubber match, right? Columbus took game 1, 6-5, the great comeback, and then they fell in overtime. We all know the game, but then they also got the win against them in the final game before the little holiday hiatus there. So, back in the saddle, a chance to end up taking the rubber match tonight. We will get into the game. We'll preview it. We'll give you our keys to the game as well. But there were some updates from practice on Thursday that pertain to the game tonight in Columbus. Notably, we got a starter. Sheldon Keefe named a starter. And it's not Martin Jones. It's not Dennis Hildeby. It's not Keith Petruzzelli. It's not Joseph Wall. It's Ilya Samsonov, my friend. Ilya Samsonov gets back between the pipes against the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. How do you think that's going to turn out, pal?
It's only going to be, from what we've learned of Ilya Samsonov this season, it's either going to be good or it's going to be really bad. Like, there's no
in between. Yeah.
There's no in between. There hasn't been an in between in a long time with this guy. And that's you. I didn't get a chance to listen to Sheldon Keefe when he declared Samsonov the starter, but I do wonder if somewhere he got like heartburn or indigestion as he named Samsonov the starter. Like, how confident do you think he feels saying we're getting Sammy back in the net?
So are you basically insinuating that Sheldon Keefe will be chugging back a pint of Pepto-Bismol before the game? Is this what you're saying? With the anticipation of all of those heartburn, digestion, and possibly Sammy diarrheaing himself in the back of the net there tonight? I don't know.
He'd like to drink. I don't know if he'd want to drink it because he might not be able to make it to the game with how much he'd have to drink it.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Look, I hope that he can get his game back. I mean, the Leafs are going to be a better team if Ilya Samsonov can be a competent goaltender for this squad. I think the days of, I mean, it's weird because like if you look at his numbers from last season, they were good. They were solid. And, I get that the team played better defensively in front of him. And that's also something that we got to acknowledge. I mean, the team has played dreadful in front of Samsonov, as well. They've kind of left him out to dry. But last year, when he was left out to dry, he was making a couple of big saves that he shouldn't have here and there. That's not been the case this year with Samsonov. When things break down, he can't make that stop. The puck ends up in the back of the net, and even on easy little flub shots like we saw in Buffalo from Jordan Greenway 2 minutes into the hockey game. It was a back-breaking goal, and the team never recovered from it. And hopefully, that's not the case here tonight in Columbus. We saw that happen against Columbus 2 weeks ago when he allowed 5 goals to the first 2 periods, and then allowed kind of a meh goal in overtime also when they ended up falling 6-5 after making that comeback. Hopefully tonight, though, Samsonov can have himself a decent game. But in order to do that, I really do believe that it's going to take a full team effort in front of him, right? Like that's ultimately what you need to see out of this team. It's not necessarily Samsonov that I'm worried about. It's can the rest of the squad buy in? Can they not make those little mistakes? Can they play with great attention to detail tonight? Because that's what's going to take, I think, for them to prop up Samsonov to the point where they can grind out a low scoring win. And ultimately, I think that's what they need. I think it's what Samsonov needs as well to try and boost his confidence back up.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Samsonov, and as Samsonov said himself, it's between the ears, right? When he lets in a bad goal or something goes wrong for him, he can't recover. Pretty much that's what he said. He's struggling to bounce back. And for goaltending, sometimes that's that's what does you in. If you just don't have that confidence. And Sheldon keeps, and I reading his comments today, he felt the break may have been a good thing to just get him away, not thinking about things. But we won't know until we see him in the net and playing, right? And that's why some people thought giving him a stint with the Marlies might have made sense, but obviously the Leafs couldn't do that with the holiday freeze. They were stuck where they had to keep him up, right, for that time. So I do think for Samsonov, you have to play well in front of him, but find a way to give him any hope of confidence to get himself right going into the game.
Yeah. Mark Giordano also expected to return to the lineup tonight as well. He was skating on a third pair with Timothy Liljegren. What type of expectations would you be putting on Gio's return here tonight?
I think the big thing for Gio is, he's at least gonna have fresh legs, right? He's not. He hasn't. It's not like he's dealing with an injury like Liljegren where he wasn't able to skate. I'm just hopeful that he can help spell some time on the hard defensive minutes that have been put on guys like Giordano, who it's clear that maybe there's a lot of weight being put on him with Giordano being out. Help the penalty kill, obviously. So, I mean, again, third pairing. They're clearly not going to throw him to the wolves too much. I don't think, but I do think you're going to see a guy who's itching to get back into this lineup.
Yeah, you know it's gonna happen. I think tonight just kind of slowly integrate him back in. I do like that they've put Liljegren as the partner, someone who he's got familiarity with and comfort with. But by doing so, they've actually slid Simon Benoit up to the second pair. He's the right shot defender with him and Jake McCabe. Unless some other scribe wrote it differently. I did see that on David Alter. He wrote that it was going to be McCabe and Simon Benoit with Benoit as the right shot D man, which I found to be kind of interesting. Are you seeing the same thing? And what do you make of that tonight?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I thought Lagesson played the right side on the third pairing with Benoit. So when I saw that it was him on the right side with McCabe, and now I think Jonas Siegel put McCabe on the right side and
I was
Benoit on
going
the
to say
left.
it is possible that it was just flipped
Alter,
the wrong way with David Alter because McCabe had played on the right side and Benoit is more so has played on the left side. So that is the case. Then other scribes had it the other way. I just saw David Alter, who we've had on the show a couple times. I know that he puts out the lineup every single day. So I kind of went to the one source and thought, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, it wouldn't shock me if that was just a little bit of a slip where he had the two swapped. So most likely we are going to see McCabe on the right side then, correct?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I wouldn't want to see Benoit on the right. He hasn't really played on the right this year. It's
No,
usually
that's why I thought it was really weird to see that, which is why I thought it was gonna be a talking point. But
yeah.
if that was just, maybe a little bit of a slip
Bum,
up, yeah.
little slip
Yeah.
up, but I personally still think Lagesson should be in. I like Lagesson a little better than Benoit personally, but
Mm.
maybe they view Lagesson as the right shot guy, and then Benoit is better on the left.
Yep, yep. I mean, that could be the case. Just he's more depth on the right side. He did get into that fight too. You thought maybe that fight would have been enough to keep him in the lineup, but apparently not. Simon Benoit looking like he's going to draw in for tonight's game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. When we come back, we'll get more into detail on the three keys to victory for the Maple Leafs to squeak out a win tonight. And then it's the final show for you and I in the year 2023. We'll do a little 2023 year in review for the Maple Leafs. We'll go through what our favorite moment was on the season, who was the breakout star, and I've got some Leafs trivia for you, Dave. Everyone loves some trivia, so I'm going to spring some trivia and some stats onto you, and we'll do that a little later on. But first, we'll take a quick break and hear from one of our show sponsors, and it's our good friends at AG1.
Today's episode is brought to you by a product that I use literally every day, AG1 by Athletic Greens. Maybe you're like me, you want to be healthy and eat well, but it's always easier said than done. That's no longer the case with AG1. With one delicious scoop of AG1 in a glass of water each day, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All of those things. It can be hard and expensive to keep track of multiple different supplements and vitamins, not to mention how hard it can be on your stomach. AG1 costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. That is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. It's Mike DiStefano. I've got Dave Morassutti with me today, but won't be with me next week. Dave, what's going on? You're finally taking yourself a long and hard-earned vacation, buddy. Where are you going?
You see, Mike boasts quite a bit of how much he likes to cruise, but what I think I've told you this, but I don't think I've told the viewers this. I used to be the cruise goer of the group. I haven't been on a cruise in a little bit, and my family want to go on a cruise. Couldn't say no. I haven't been on a proper vacation, in a little while. So we're going to be heading down to Miami for a few days. Although it's not as warm in Miami as I thought it was going to be. But where it is going to be warm is in the Caribbean, and that is where the cruise is going to be. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. That was my brother literally calling me as I'm recording the podcast. That is just a faux pas on my part.
It's all good, buddy. I mean, you've got a lot going on because I know you're the one that's handling all of the responsibilities that go within travel. So I know that yeah, you're probably going to get a couple of texts and phone calls from the family throughout the night, I would assume. Um, so you might not even be able to watch this game realistically because I think you'll be on the boat by the time that the puck actually drops here for Columbus. But what are three keys for you tonight for the Maple Leafs for them to squeak out a win? And I mean, I say squeak out a win. They should be able to dominate this team. Like the Leafs are a much better franchise, much better roster than the Columbus Blue Jackets. But what we've come to, know and hate about this team is that they consistently play down to their opponent. But what do they need to do tonight to make sure that does not happen, Dave?
I think you gotta worry about the Columbus's speed. They like to attack the defense, and we saw that in the first meeting between these two teams. The Leafs were guilty of allowing Columbus to generate a lot of speed through the neutral zone and get in some high quality chances on net. So and against Ottawa, that's what the once Ottawa stepped up the pace, the Leafs struggled with it. And I think that's a book on this Leafs defense. You up the pace, and it makes it a little bit tough to defend. So I think the Leafs are going to have to find a way to slow this Columbus team down.
Yeah, for sure. Well, another one for me, and we kind of got into it a little bit earlier when we were talking about it, but I think this team has to play very detailed tonight. The details haven't been there for this club, specifically, when it comes to, the back check covering their man. You look at a couple of those goals from the game the other night, and those could have been avoided against Ottawa if the players would have just back checked the way they were supposed to. You the Leafs easily would have won that game. So that's one thing that I think the Leafs have to make sure that they do, and also make sure when you're, making your passes out the zone, they actually get out of the zone. When you're trying to clear the puck, make sure it gets out of the zone. When you're trying to make a pass on the power play specifically, make sure it's tape to tape. So it's the little things that I think the Leafs sometimes get away from in these games. I don't know if it's that they take their foot off the pedal, so they don't really, play as hard and as crisp as they need to. But look, there's no reason for Toronto to think they can go in here and win this game easily, because what was the stat? They're 2-5-2 against teams that are currently ranked in the bottom 7 in the league, giving up 4.77 goals against in those games. Columbus, they gave up a 6 spot to them a couple weeks ago, and you definitely do not want to be doing that again. That would be just abysmal for the Leafs to have 2 of those outings, 3 really, if you include Buffalo, in the matter of just a couple of weeks. So make sure that they play detailed and avoid those little mistakes and mental errors that often come back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, and with Samsonov, with his confidence issues, you have to give Samsonov the belief that you're not going to allow those back-breaking opportunities, right? If he allows a rebound, try to be on your guy in your own end. Give him a little bit of help in that area, right? And the Leafs have been guilty of also giving up a lot of slot shots, right? Clean up that area. That was an area of their game they were much better at last year. They've struggled this year, so they're gonna have to tidy up that area. Like it's been in the inconsistency in the Leafs defensive play has been noted. The goaltending hasn't been great, but it's not like, as we said, the defense has helped them out a great deal, and that's something they're gonna have to pay a lot more attention to, especially when you're on the road. And again, the matchups are going to be dictated by your opponent.
And perhaps that is a reason why we look at Benoit over Legacy, just 'cause is that bigger body in front of the net who, maybe you have more faith in, that can box out defenders and, make it tougher to get into, that inner slot area that Samsonov struggled in this season. So that perhaps could be a matchup dependent decision there to have Benoit over Legason in that, shutdown pair tonight alongside Jake McCabe. Then obviously, like the Leafs, they got to get off to a good start and then continue it through full 60 minutes. We're still looking for that full 60-minute effort, man. Like we're almost in 2024, and there's been what, maybe two games all season where you could sit there and be like, man, the Leafs dominated from start to finish. That there should be way more than that, especially when you look at the amount of poor competition that they've played early on in the calendar year. I think that tonight needs to be another situation where they do control pace, they control tempo, they control the game. They don't allow Samsonov to see much rubber because they're spending the whole time in Columbus's end with wave after wave after wave of pressure. That's one way to also help, Samsonov. Don't give him anything. Like in the game right before the break, Martin Jones didn't really have to do a whole lot. That was an easy win for him because they didn't face much. What was there, 18 shots or something like that on net in that game against Columbus? So I think that is another situation where Toronto can help their goaltender, help Samsonov out by playing a majority of the game in the offensive end. So those are some of the keys that we have that we'll be keying in on and looking at and locked into tonight during the game. So with that, why don't we take another quick break? We'll come back, And it's the final episode that we'll be doing here in the year 2023. We'll kind of do a little year in review for the Maple Leafs. We'll look at some of the top point scores throughout the season. We'll talk about our favorite memories, their breakout star of 2023. So we'll do all that next here on the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Sleeper. It's almost the halfway point in the season, Leaf fans, and regardless of where we are in the standings, I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because of Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick where the studs like Matthews or McDavid or Marner, Nylander, McKinnon, Crosby, perhaps, whoever will record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in any given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You hear me, Leaf fans? You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms and views for details and locational availability. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. It's Mike DiStefano and Dave Morassutti. We are hosts here at Locked On Leafs, and it's the final show before the end of the calendar year for us here on planet Earth and also the Locked On Leafs family. And I figured, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a year in review. And we'll do some fun trivia. I've got some trivia questions for you that pertain to the Maple Leafs and how they did in the 2023 season. But before we get into all that, like, I'm curious to hear your opinion on who you think the Leafs 2023 breakout star was.
Yeah, it's a good question because everyone would usually kind of say, should be Austin Matthews. I want to give it to William Nylander. You know, I think he played so well in the playoffs. You know, he had a pretty decent regular season. It wasn't the greatest regular season like to start 2023, but the way he started this season, contract year and everything like that, I just think he's been by far one of the better players. Yes, Austin Matthews has been scoring a lot of goals, but when I looked at how Nylander finished last season, how he played in the playoffs, and how he carried that over to start this year, he's got my vote.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is somebody who last year really showed that he can put together some consistent games. And, he did that at the beginning of the year. He's scored in or has a point in all but I think 3 games so far this season. Like, it's incredible what he's been able to do, and absolutely he's kind of breaking into a star in this league, not just now kind of the tertiary player on this team, but he's a driver. I think that's a really good one. How about Joseph Woll though, as a breakout star for 2023? Like, this guy wasn't even on the roster last year to start the season. Like, 2022, he wasn't on the radar, let alone roster, wasn't on the radar. This was Samsonov and this was Matt Murray. All of a sudden, injuries occur. This guy gets called up and he plays well. And then an injury occurs in the playoffs where Samsonov goes down and Joseph Woll had to come in round 2 and he played really well. Obviously, they didn't get the result that they wanted, but that's because the team only scored 2 goals a game in the whole second round of the playoffs. So not his fault for sure, but he did fantastic. And obviously we've talked a lot about this season, how, he's won them a lot of games just based off of his play. And if you look at, the year as a whole from, Jan 1 of last year up until this very moment now, Joseph Woll has a .921 save percentage through the regular season, through 22 games that he's played. And he's 14-6-1 in those starts. Like, he wins games, he plays really well. And again, this is just a player that I don't think many Leaf fans 2 years ago, like, if we were to do this exercise and, in 2022 as we were going into 2023. I don't think anybody was projecting Joseph Woll to be this team's number one. Could he be a backup? Could he be a future NHLer? Perhaps. But now the way we look at this guy is like, okay, he's the future. He's the starter. He's that drafted, developed player. And I think he's certainly somebody who's broken out over the course of the last calendar year. So I'm going to go with Joseph Woll. What was your favorite moment, your favorite Leafs moment of 2023?
My favorite moment.
Guy, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
No. We're gonna get trolled for this, but it had to be the series win, the overtime winner.
How are we gonna get trolled for that? How would we possibly get trolled for that?
Because Leafs fans are celebrating one playoff win.
Guy, there's only a handful of teams that have done better than that in the NHL. There's only actually 4 teams that say they won 2 playoff rounds in 2023. So like there's only of the 28 other teams can say that they've won playoff rounds and games.
Oh, I know, but people will continue to say that the Leafs fans are satisfied with one playoff round, which we are not. Let's just put that out there. But yeah, no, like that overtime winner, yes, that playoff series brought a lot of nervousness and anxiety, but it was just it's one of those series that's gonna live, the memory's gonna last for a bit. Yeah, we didn't like how the series after went, but I mean, you guys all remember the reaction video that I did of that game. That's something at least.
Oh yeah, you and our pal Jose jumping off your couch, little hug sesh with you and Jose. I remember that.
Confident enough in the Leafs' ability to win that game in overtime that I was going to record my reaction. The Leafs, that point, did not disappoint.
And it worked out, buddy. It worked out. I had a similar reaction with myself and my roommate. I didn't have the foresight to record it. And then we hit the streets. Like I live on King West or right off King West. I hit the streets, had to go and see what was going on. Big party out there. And absolutely, like Tavares, the captain of Toronto, the boy who came home, sent the team to the second round. It was, it didn't have a fairy tale ending afterwards, but in terms of ending the drought, can't get much fairy tale than that. So for sure, that was the favorite moment I think of every Leaf fan in 2023. I've got some Leafs stats and facts and some trivia for you, Dave. Are you interested in this?
I have no idea what's going to be thrown at me, so there's no cheating going on here. So let's have at it.
It's true. I did not tell him that this was happening. I did not. So these are regular season numbers. Okay, so we excluded the playoffs. So the regular season from January 1st until today, present day. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, and I'm going to give you an over under for this. The Toronto Maple Leafs had over or under 100. I guess we'll go with 99.5 points.
Ooh, I'm going to say 99.5. I'm going to say under. Just under.
What's your rationale?
Well, I'm thinking of how many points they have right now. They have 40.
Okay, so they played 77 games. So through 77 games from January 1st until today, Friday, December, 29th.
Yeah.
Through 77 games, did they muster up over or under 99.5 points?
Okay, that makes me now know how many games it is. I'll say over. Because I do think that, at least you win 3/4 of those games, you're in a good shot there to at least get. Even if you win 50, well, I don't know if they won 50 of those. They win 50 games. Yeah, I'll go with 50 wins. Or, well, overtime losses will help with that as well, I guess.
So your final answer is over 99.5 points?
Now I know now that I have a figure of how many games they played, I'm going to go over.
You got to stay with your first answer, buddy. Up until today. Now, again, there's still 2 more days in 2023 for them to cross into the 100-point threshold, but to this point, before the Columbus game, just 99 points for the Maple Leafs through 77 games. Again, they'll have an opportunity to go over this if they can pick up a point either tonight or tomorrow against Carolina in the back-to-back, but as of now, just 99, buddy.
All those games, I mean, how many overtime losses do they have this year? 6? They should have been over. Should have been over.
Yeah, you think about the loss to Buffalo, the loss to Columbus, the loss to think about all the teams they've lost to. Chicago, they've lost to twice, right? They pick up a win in either of those Chicago games this year. You're right. You're right. They're up to 100 points, so you can blame them for losing and leaving valuable points on the board against these terrible, terrible teams. Anyways, move on to a second one for you, Dave. All right. Which Maple Leafs goaltender had the most wins in the year 2023?
Most wins. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go with Samsonov. I think I have to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Samsonov had 40 starts, had 21 wins for the Maple Leafs. Joseph Woll second with 14 wins in 20 starts. But yeah, Samsonov, obviously he's played more. I was trying to trick you, thinking maybe you could be a little recency bias, but no,
It was definitely not Matt Murray because he did not play a lot.
Right. Also, Matt Murray just did not play. All right. In order, Dave, can you name the top 3 scores in terms of points for the Maple Leafs in the year 2023?
I'm going to go Marner, Nylander, then Matthews.
Explain your reasoning.
Well, Marner was the leader of the team in points last year, and he's usually in around the point per game for this year, so I would figure that carryover would help. Nylander's hot start to this year put him in a good position to lead the team in points, and he was within striking distance last year. And then Matthews doesn't get as many points. He gets the goals, but he doesn't get the points. Now, part of me is not wondering if John Tavares should be in this conversation because he's always at a point per game. So part of me is thinking it was either Matthews or Tavares, but I also think of the goals that Matthews scores, especially this year, and I should have him in that range.
Yeah, you're correct. Marner at 93 points, Nylander with 91, Austin Matthews with 85 points, 50 goals in the year 2023. After a slow start to this season, but he's really picked it up at the the end of the 2023 year, and last year also, wasn't great. Just a 40-goal season, just a 40-goal season for Austin Matthews. All right, true or false? Austin Matthews led the Maple Leafs in shots on goal in the year 2023.
I am going to say true.
Incorrect. It is false. William Nylander led the Maple Leafs in shots on goal. William Nylander had 301 shots on goal. Austin Matthews had 300 shots on goal. So literally, Nylander had one more shot on net in the year 2023.
It was a toss-up. Literally a toss-up. But
It was.
When I said Matthews, I'm like, oh, but Willie does shoot the puck quite a bit. Like, literally anytime we're doing those FanDuel reads, you're like, throw some money on the Willie shot props because he's always hitting the over. But I always thought that Matthews is like, you always have like those 7-8 shot games. But
yeah. Well, Willie's props, because Willie's props, like his prop market is usually set at 3.5, where Matthews is set at 4.5. So that goes to show, by the way, where these two both pretty much should be considered relatively the same in terms of shooting. Although Matthews played 9 games less than Nylander, I should note too, in the year 2023. This will be a fun one. Okay, this is kind of cheating. No, I'm not going to cheat. Okay, how can I make this fair? Okay, among players who have played in at least 10 games, okay, we'll qualify it at 10 games for the Maple Leafs in the year 2023, who had the highest shooting percentage?
10 games. Highest shooting percentage? Oh my god.
Because number one was technically Dryden Hunt, who had 4 shots on goal for a 25% shooting percentage. That would have been a cheeky one. So we'll qualify it at least 10 games.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's definitely not going to be Austin Matthews. He had a lower shooting percentage last year. Oh,
He was 5th on the Leafs.
fifth? Oh my god.
Technically third. If we're using our qualifier, third, because Redeem Zahorna also scored and had like a 16% shooting or something like that.
Okay, but they had to play at least 10 games, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, Ryan O'Reilly did play more than 10 games, but it wasn't Ryan. No, because we decided this year. I'm going to go with Callie Yarncroke because I always think this guy, usually he has a good shooting percentage because he doesn't shoot a lot, but he does score quite a bit for what he shoots.
He was close for a long time. I believe he was leading, but you should have stuck with your gut. Ryan O'Reilly,
Really?
18.2% shooting. Yep, scored 4 goals on just 22 shots. They gave up a boatload to get him, and he had just 22 shots on net prior to that injury. But yeah, just 4 goals through 13 games for Ryan O'Reilly, 18.2% shooting. Mitch Marner had nearly 17% shooting in the year 2023, 29 goals in 75 games. Matthews, 50 goals in 68 games, 16.7% shooting. What's another one that we can have some fun with? Let's look at some team stats. Some team stats here. All right. True or false? Leafs in the year 2023 were a top 3 power play team.
Top 3? 2023. I'm going to go false.
Technically, you are incorrect. There's a tie for third place between the Devils and the Maple Leafs. So you are incorrect. They both operated at least 0.5% for a two-way tie at third place. Incorrect, Dave.
See, I had obviously knew the Oilers with the historic power play were 1, and I
Yes.
knew the Devils were up there.
Yes.
Like,
The Rangers were number 2, 28.6% in the year 2023.
Yeah, because I just remember the Leafs got off to a really good start last year, but then they kind of fizzled a little bit. But I sustained it a little bit at least.
Maybe time for one more. Actually, this is a wild one. This is a league-wide one. Who led the league in scoring in the year 2023?
Led the league in scoring. Was it Kucherov?
Nikita Kucherov is not the right answer.
Damn.
He was third. He was third with 118 points through 82 games.
That many points? So is it McDavid then?
Connor McDavid is incorrect. He is second with 125 points through 73 games. Now, if you go by points per game, McDavid is technically right. But by total points, one player had 8 more points than Connor McDavid in the year 2023.
Draisaitl?
No.
Who
out? The correct answer, the player with the most points through the regular season, at least in the year 2023, Nathan McKinnon, 133 points in 82 games. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And
Yeah.
funny, would it surprise you to hear that Nathan McKinnon also second in scoring with 53 goals, just
Mhm.
3 behind the leader in David. Isn't that wild? It's
Yeah.
insane.
David Pastrnak did. I mean, obviously, he had a great year last year, and he's been at a good pace this year. Yeah, I guess if McDavid didn't miss those games this year, right? Because he did miss some time this year, he'd probably be leading the league. Maybe not by a wide margin, but he would definitely be up there.
Yeah, so McKinnon, yes, he had 8 more points than McDavid. He also played in 9 more games than McDavid. No, 11. No, 9. 9 more games than McDavid. Basic math there. Come on. All right. I think yeah, so that was the year 2023 in review for the Maple Leafs. Actually, you know what? Let me do one more cuz I actually want to see the answer to this one. So while I'm searching it, why don't you guess who led the Leafs in penalty minutes?
Penalty minutes? Oh my God! Do we even have guys that would qualify for a lot of penalty minutes?
I think I know the answer. I think I know the answer, but I do want to just check.
Oh man, penalty minutes.
It would help if I did.
I'm overthinking this. We got to think of our lost lonely child who's no longer here anymore. Your favorite, Mister. I score more than Connor McDavid at 5-on-5. Mister
He
Michael
did.
Bunting.
He did in his rookie season. I do want that to definitely be on the record that he certainly scored more. Michael Bunting is your answer.
Michael Bunting is my answer.
Michael Bunting is my answer as well, and that happens to be the correct answer. Michael Bunting with 59 penalty minutes
Attaboy Bunt.
leads all Leafs players in the year 2023, which is just insane. Michael Bunting, followed by Max Domi. He's got 52 penalty minutes so far through 32 games. Jake McCabe has 50. He's third. How far down until we get like an actual scrappy player? Wayne Simmons had 41 penalty minutes through 11 games. I guess that's notable, kinda. Had 3 majors, so we got into 3 scraps last year to kinda up those numbers. Ryan Reeves, just 16 penalty minutes. Thought he'd have more. Thought he'd have more than that. Did you think that he'd have more than just 2 fights by the turn of the calendar?
I thought so. Just because he got into 2
Yeah,
fights in his 2 games. If I'm
and
not
hasn't gone
mistaken.
into one since. Yeah, you're right. So I don't, he was brought in to do something. I'm not sure what that was, but he, in my opinion, has not really done that. But anyways, this isn't going to turn into a hate on Ryan Reeves fest. There's no need for that type of slander.
Okay,
To
2023 for Mike. What?
yeah. No need for any of that. All right, buddy. We'll leave it there. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy the cruise. Dave will not be on the show all of next week, so it'll be myself and we'll probably get a little bit of a revolving door of co-hosts kind of help out while you are away. But enjoy. Have a lot of fun. Happy New Year, my friend. And do you have any final words for the listeners before you depart?
Well, I mean, obviously, thanks you guys for all your support this year, and we obviously wouldn't be doing this without you guys. So that's a big one there. And Mike, I do apologize that I am leaving you as the Leafs go on their Pacific East Coast California road trip.
Oh, I didn't even know that was next week. God.
Boy, did I take a good time to go on vacation, huh?
Did you ever? Oh man, that's gonna be brutal. We're gonna have like 1 a.m. podcasts.
But you are fortunate that one of the games is at 7:00 Eastern. So we're gonna
Is
have
it a
2 of
Saturday?
them. Yeah, there's a Saturday game. So only 2 games are going to be on late.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. That'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcasts and platforms to receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on X at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti. Follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. Go ahead. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. And comment down below your favorite memory. Leafs memory, hockey memory, whatever it may be of 2023. Let us know in the comment section down below or reach out to us on Twitter. I will be back with another episode for you guys on Tuesday because Monday's a holiday. So I'll be back on Tuesday for our first episode of the year 2024. Dave will be back the following Monday. So again, enjoy your cruise, buddy. Everybody enjoy the Leafs games this weekend. Tonight, Columbus, Carolina tomorrow, and when we party our faces off for New Year's Eve. Everyone enjoy. Have a lot of fun this weekend. Happy New Year to all, and we'll see you in 2024.